prepare to get underway. Richards Bay remain relegation candidates, but they are 3 points clear of Cape Town City and SuperSport United as they all battle to avoid 15th place and the relegation playoffs as we get underway here at Loftus. But for Richards Bay to enhance their league position this evening, they'll have to get something away against a team that they've never so much as scored a league goal against. Sundowns 5 for 5 across their previous top flight tussles, and they have won 7 out of 7 against Richards Bay in all competitions. It is a very lopsided affair historically.
One very important factor as we look at Butuma down on the floor was what the coach Papi Zotwana said. Let's see how it happens. A little bit of what does Mokoena do here? He just barges in with his body, and I'm not sure if any a little bit of the shoulder into the first of Butuma, yes, which probably wasn't picked up by the man in the middle. But what I like, Grant, is the fact that he spoke about high energy from his team, and that is the only chance that they do have if they're to break down Mamelodi Sundowns.
Now, what do you make of that challenge from Mokoena, just from I guess the perspective of wanting to unsettle arguably the Natal Rich Boys' most dangerous player, although could make an argument for the man over the free kick, Gumede, being perhaps the biggest threat this evening from the visitors. As he puts in this free kick, is easily repelled by the man who had given away the free kick in the first place. And now Lucas Ipero's on the move, feeding Reyners. This is Modiba, Ikram Reyners. Well, the touch initially let him down, and then straight into the gloves of Otieno as he looked to cut it back.
He gets a return pass, Reyners, a cut back, which I thought maybe it came a little bit too quick for him. Otherwise, he would have taken a shot right from that first pass. He tries to ping it back, but it's not a cut back, so it doesn't get anywhere near Salis.
Ikram Reyners off the bench at the intimidating Cairo International Stadium to force the equalizing goal against Al Ahly. It wasn't credited to him, own goal by Ibrahim Yassir, but ultimately that 1-1 draw away from home, seeing Sundowns advance 1-1 on aggregate, away goals rule in their favor. As Sumilan Sundwana links up here with Zikiali, sliding it through for Gumede. Sales winning the ball. Tashreeq Matthews perhaps slightly under-hitting that pass, but Dennis Onyango alive to any potential danger there.
Even more, I don't think Matthews even realized that there was a player lacking to be able to quickly rush into that back pass. But like you said, Dennis was alert to the danger and quickly came off his line, dealt with it.
Mokoena to Malimogo Koza, who has not started any of their last 8 Mamelodi Sundowns matches since a 1-1 draw with Le Mans for Golden Arrows early in March. There's Ribeiro laying it off for Sales. That was a combination that opened the scoring against Richards Bay in the reverse fixture after Christmas earlier this season, as Mudau now tries to keep the ball going for Sundowns. That little nod down. Here's Ribeiro. It's on the longest barren run that he's been on since joining Mamelodi Sundowns. Hasn't scored in any of their last 8 games. But something very interesting, William, is that before they faced Richards Bay, that was on the 28th of December, Lucas Ribeiro was on a 7-game run without a goal, which he put to an end, getting the second there against the Natal Rich Boys at Kingsville-Atini. So, well, will he have a similar outcome tonight? Again, on a long barren run, a chance to break it.
I'm sure in the back of his mind he'll be thinking about that very same situation. Makes a lot of sense. Well spotted, Grunty.
Cut out by Keegan Allen initially there. Player who emerged from the Mamelodi Sundowns development, then rather than sticking around, opted to chart his own course. There's Mokoena. for that defense-splitting pass. Ended up at the feet of Tashreeq Matthews, but Stanton Zeko had already called a halt to play there.
But already you can see a seal blue of Richards Bay just behind the half line every time that Mamelodi Sundowns has the ball, which for me makes a lot of sense. You can't afford to take on Sundowns like head on when they're on the ball, so you got to retreat and at least form some form of a wall to give yourself a fighting chance to be able to defend against them.
Oneka came back against Cape Town City in their last outing. He had missed the 2 games prior to that. Defeats against AmaZulu and Bulawani City, so he certainly was missed. Such an influential player for them. Saleh operating in some very tight spaces here. Teboho Mokoena laying it off for Modiba. Matthews to Saleh. Ayende gets it back from Ribeiro. Elisa Modao will be looking to continue the momentum of a stunning outing against Al Ahly this past Friday. Teboho Mokoena stayed down for a moment. Again, it's he and Butuma involved with one another.
Whether Butuma is returning a little bit of the favor, not too sure.
Butuma and Sundowns appear to get in each other's way here. Matthews now for Sundowns. Ayende. Ribeiro. Can't find a route past Sundowns. Ayende. Modao. Over the top for Mokoena. Oh, it's a beautiful goal. And just as he did at the end of the year against the Natal Ridge boys, he opens the scoring again. Arthur Saleh.
That's the beauty of the short passing game coming from that middle part that threw Richards Bay away. You'll see as we look into that slow-mo, but it's the deep run, almost like delayed. And the pass to find him, that for me was unbelievable. Now, look at the rotation of the ball here, as they did for a number of times. But Mokoena waited just for the right moment for Saleh. Oh, that's a brilliant tap-in. Just looking to see Smangani, I think the one that got caught ball watching there. Excellent first touch to find the back of the net. But to bypass that wall that Richards Bay set up for the 10 minutes or so was class by Mokoena.
Well, it's a third assist for Teboho Mokoena, and it's 10 goal contributions in the Betway Premiership now for Arthur Saleh. 5 goals, 5 assists for a man who had a little bit of a slow start in Sundowns colours. It's a brilliantly worked goal. It's the assist that makes it, as was the case in the reverse fixture, where Ribeiro produced a sublime pass that allowed Saleh to score.
Talk about the timing of the run going forward. And obviously the speed of the ball, the weight of the pass, everything was just perfectly laid for Saleh to finish.
Arthur Saleh now jointly the top goal scorer in this particular tie, along with the now departed Junior Mendieta, who scored twice against Richards Bay last season in a pair of 1-0 wins, and the second of which came here at Loftus when he netted basically in the last minute after a cross from Spilin Kulisi. Junior Mendieta now playing his football out in Saudi Arabia, having moved from Sundowns to the Greek Super League. Modao. Allende.
Possibility for another similar pass, but opted not to throw it. I can tell you that Salas was already on the run and space for that ball to come through.
Mokoena to Allende. Seems very unlikely that Sundowns will relinquish their lead, considering that they have not dropped a single point from a winning position this season, along with Orlando Pirates. They're the only two sides in the Betway Premiership this campaign not to have dropped any points from winning positions. So as things stand, Mamelodi Sundowns moving to 58 points. Orlando Pirates still level with Skukunia currently. Just to break down that log as quickly as we can for you, a maximum of 28 games to be played with the expulsion of Royal AM, as Klopi Motsepe is involved in conversation there with Flemingberg. Including tonight, Mamelodi Sundowns, 6 games to play, Orlando Pirates 8 games to play, so an additional 6 points to play for from a Buccaneers perspective, and they find themselves at the beginning of this evening 9 points behind. So if both teams were to win all their remaining games, Sundowns would win the title by 3 points, but as we know, plenty can still happen. Sundowns will be perhaps a little preoccupied with the Champions League, although that should come after the conclusion of the season, although there are a few potential fixture clashes. Orlando Pirates, meanwhile, have the Nedbank Cup final that's shoehorned into the conclusion of the league season. So will that disrupt their momentum? Remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, very exciting title run in William, after a couple of seasons where Sundowns have won it by 16 points and 20-something points. It's a nice departure from that.
The difference, of course, is that Mamelodi Sundowns do have it in their own hands. Unlike Orlando Pirates, along the way, they've done their part in beating Mamelodi Sundowns. Now it remains to be seen who will do them a favor. It's not the best situation to be in.
Tetra too close to Dennis Onyango, has kept 6 clean sheets and 10 appearances across all competitions this season. He's only conceded 4 goals. And actually, with his start tonight in the Betway Premiership, he has made more starts this season than he did in the previous campaign. A man who, in about 2 weeks' time, will be turning 40 years old.
Unbelievable. Still looking like a spring chicken.
Yeah. Tashrik Matthews now. Moriba. A little too strong with that pass.
Only goalkeepers, of course, can last that long. Very few players, as we would have seen in the past, that will have played up until they were over 40. Much better from Mamelodi Sundowns, Grant. I think the rotation of balls way better than I've seen them in recent times. They're finding the pocket of spaces beautifully, and the level of patience as well, in the way that they just are able to hold the longest before they could spray the long pass into the attacking zone.
Allende, Reyners. Difficulty clearing their lines here at Richards Bay. Eventually Otieno has it. Well, he's speaking about how they are rotating the ball and on the ball right now. Grant Kekana with almost a 94% pass accuracy this season, and here's Ibero. Let's just get away from him. And Kekana is set this evening to hit the 1,000 pass mark, which of course very impressive. Their top passer in terms of accuracy this season from a Sundowns perspective is the man alongside Kekana in the heart of defense. Malibonga Khoza is about 94.5% pass accuracy this season, and considering that he has managed in excess of 800 passes, this is not just 10 accurate passes in a cameo appearance. Yeah. These are serious numbers.
Now, this is the press that I was talking about. In as much as Richards Bay will try to play off the back, but you can see already there's a crowd wherever the ball is, and quickly, almost dispossessed. Yes.
Now rolled through for Rainers. Good tackle in the end from Tlaksani Mtetwa, a necessary one as well.
Unfortunately, I don't think they can afford to do that, to try and build from the back. But also, the more they push it forward, they're like pushing it to nobody, because if you look at Mbutuma, he's isolated for the most part. So even if he gets to the ball, he hardly has anybody to play with or to bring any form of combination in the attacking third.
They go short from the corner. Can't locate Hibeiro's unfortunate slip there from Tulani Kumede. Modiba finding the goal scorer, Artur Sales. It's the 50th that they've managed in the league this season. That's of course wiping out the goals scored against Royal AM. Last season they managed 52, although that technically included the 3 goals from the walkover against Morocco Solos. And now for a 4th season in succession, Mamelodi Sundowns have managed 50 or more goals in the league. Chance for Richards Bay up the other end. Toa Mokoena takes care of it. Sales helps it along. Mamelodi Sundowns, as they characteristically do, dominating possession with 3/4 of it currently. Something interesting pertaining to goals scored this season, William. Despite the fact that they have 2 fewer games to play, the expunged result of their earlier game against Royal AM, and of course no second fixture, they are on course to break the record for the most goals scored in a 30-game season. The era of the PSL that's had 16-team league. The record currently 56 goals by Mamelodi Sundowns in 2021-22. So tonight and 5 additional games to get 7 goals.
They're en route to be able to.
Seems likely. It did seem like they were on course to break the record for the last couple of seasons, but because they already won the title with so many games to spare, they had a whole lot of draws and poor results. But now, considering the context and the fact that it's necessary to win and to score, that record could be under threat.
They're a team, of course, that are high achievers. Just about every season they're always looking to break this one and that one. So it looks like this season it's the one of goals, and like you said, I think easily it can be done. They're about what, 5 goals behind?
Yes,
with about 8 games to go.
6 goals behind, equaling the record.
Yeah,
and 7 to break it.
To top it out, which shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, what, 7 games to go still?
Yes, 6 including tonight.
Yeah.
I see you're still trying to wrap your head around the concept of them playing 28 games this season.
Yes, that's the thing. Yes, that's, excuse me. We still just got to be have presence of mind here to bring it about, to say this is the situation now.
Given away rather cheaply there by Modal. Misplaced his header, and Zikali couldn't do anything with it. They still have the ball though to the visitors. Tsundwana and Mabua. Clipped over the top beautifully by Zikali, but Dennis Onyango using all of that experience to come and claim it on the stretch.
Readiness, alertness, being able to read the game and make the right decision to come out.
A good bit of vision. Just spot Gumede, scorer of their last goal. That Friday night fixture against Cape Town City almost 2 weeks ago now. Gumede, in with about 10 minutes left to play, netting an absolute beauty. A man who doesn't score nearly enough goals, considering he is a very talented footballer. And how crucial that one was against a Cape Town City side that are also fighting stave off relegation at the moment.
The challenge about the attacking players for Richards Bay is like they're hardly on the front foot. Half the time, as you can see in this game, they're on the back foot, they're defending. So Sundowns, who's more likely to have the ability to weave his way past one or two players, he's coming from so far back that he hardly has get the time to be able to get in front of the defenders, or even a chance to pick a ball that is bubbling in that area.
Not the most accurate cross there from Gumede, who has created the most chances for Richards Bay in the Betway Premiership this season, 29 in total. The next best coming courtesy of Justice Figueiredo, is absent today. Richards Bay have a little bit of a buffer, of course, over Cape Town City and SuperSport United, but still fairly precarious for the KZN side, who were in the same situation last season. Now coming to Mamelodi Sundowns and trying to get a result, tricky even for the best in the division. They have in the Betway Premiership this season a 100% record at home, 10 out of 10, and 7 clean sheets across those 10 wins as well. The last time Sundowns were defeated in a league match here at home, final day of last season, that 1-0 defeat to Cape Town City that denied them the invincible status, and that is the only defeat they've suffered in their last 39 home games in the league, with 33 wins and 5 draws. An absolutely remarkable home record. In from Gumede. Ibero got his head on it. Zika. Asking a lot there of Spangani Zulu, whose only senior goal is has effectively been expunged from his record. Spangani Zulu started all 11 of Royal AM's games and scored against Mamelodi Sundowns in a 2-1 win for Sundowns. He netted deep into injury time in that particular match, but that goal has been wiped from the record. Mabua, man who was ever present in Richards Bay's promotion-winning season back in 2021-22. Nyango, Modao, Allende to Mokoena. Now some space to exploit. Ikram Reynolds, I don't think, read the run of that ball.
He seemed to realize after I'd gone past him that it was a good ball for him to run to. He wanted to wait for it.
Koza laying it off to Kekaina. Malibonga Koza turned 21 last month. Sundowns, in the 19 games that Koza started, kept 12 clean sheets in those particular matches. A real talent who was named in the squad for the Chan qualifiers against Malawi, two-legged affair, along with Mayema and Misheko, but none amongst that trio have actually gone. In exchange, those Sundowns have sent them Keegan Johannes and Real Pieterse. On the brink of qualifying for the Chan tournament, South Africa having beaten Egypt in the previous round. Oh, what a hit from Teboho Mokoena. But Otieno grateful, I'm sure, to see that fly right at him. Onyango now, under a bit of pressure. Lays it off for Koza. Mudau. Kekana. And Matthews. Liba. Mokoena and Ayende combine. Mamelodi Sundowns have executed in excess of 200 passes so far. As this one's flung out wide for Ribeiro. It gives the crowd something to cheer about. Richards Bay this season have gained 6 points from losing positions, which is actually only bettered by Sundowns, Chiefs and Marumo Gallants. But as we pointed out earlier, coming back to get anything from Sundowns after they take the lead is a rarity. There's another look at Mokoena's fierce effort from range.
Nice playing game for Mamelodi Sundowns, but you get the feel that they need a little bit more pinpointed passes for Salis to get a bit more involved.
Modiba misplaces his pass that was intended for Mudau, who does have it now. Ribeiro. Matthews on his outside. Working patiently on the flank of Sundowns. It's a beautiful flick. Just feathers it into the back of the net via the top of his head. Ikram Reyners hits double figures in the Betway Prem.
That's why it's so deceiving about Mamelodi Sundowns. 1 second they're not going anywhere, but in a split second that ball ends up in that box and then a touch. That's what I was basically feeling, that maybe they're not giving enough balls into that area where Salis could get a bit involved. This time it's not Salis, it's Reyners, who just barely gets a touch with his head, flicks it, redirects it towards goal. Not a chance for the goalkeeper. I get the feeling even if he did get a touch, there was just about 2 players lacking around the area of Mamelodi Sundowns.
Well, it's the 4th time in his professional career that he's gone into double figures in a league campaign. He did it a couple of times with Stellenbosch in the first division, including in 2018-19 when he was top scorer with 19 goals. In last season, 15 in the colours of Stellenbosch. And he's hit that important mark of 10. Once again, he's 3 behind teammates Ribeiro in that chase for the golden boot.
I guess that's the beauty of Mamelodi Sundowns as well. You can't just put a finger on the one player that you need to be watchful of. Just about everybody in that field of play, in the attacking phase of the game, has a potential score. I mean, Salis has just got 1. Ribeiro, you get the feeling that Ribeiro is still going to get his as well. And Mokoena with his long-range passes or shots.
The top of the head of Tashrik Matthews. It's his 5th assist of the season. Zikali Tugmede. He's got great feet. Well, he lifted that in. I think a fair tussle in the 18-yard area. Well, it looks like Richards Bay's winless streak on their travels will extend to 7 games. Haven't managed the 3 points in their last 6 outings on the road, with 4 losses and 2 draws. In fact, they only have 1 away win this season. That was over Le Montfort Golden Arrows in mid-December. Zikali with that brilliant goal, his first ever.
There they go again, going nowhere. But in the same vein, the whole plan is to be able to shift that wall in front of them before they could put that ball into a good space.
Now, Sundowns' biggest victory over Richards Bay in the league is 2-0, which they've managed twice. Their first ever meeting back in January of 2023. Cassius Mailula and Hashim Domingo scored, and then earlier this season Sales and Ribeiro on the score sheet. But their biggest win overall came in the Cup, the Nedbank Cup, when Richards Bay was still a first division side. That was back in 2022, round of 32 match that they won 4-0. Similar scoreline could be on this evening. Mokoena slides it out to Sales. Low cross, almost finds Ribeiro. Mokoena.
Now, how far do you track down Sales, who now appears on the left wide position? It's like, as a defender, do you track him all the way there? But you know for sure he's only there to create space for the others. They've got so many attacking midfielders that can get into his space. It's all about the movement of the ball.
Also, so many attackers centrally to occupy the attentions of the Richards Bay defenders. Mudau, Mokoena, who does find Sales in space. Debo Mokoena able to get it out of his feet here to Ikram Reyners. Ribeiro bends it towards the back post. Sales was arriving but beaten to the ball. Now a rare opportunity for Richards Bay to get forward. Sundwana, Gumete. Oh, he's beaten Mudiba brilliantly here. Only one player to aim for. His cross can't pick out Butuma.
Unfortunately, that has been the case. Even if they do break into a wide position or with the space to be able to deliver, there's only one against about 3 centrally positioned defensive players for Mamelodi Sundowns.
Mamelodi Sundowns have comfortably seen out the opening 15 minutes of this match. In fact, the opening half hour, but I mentioned the 15 minutes in particular because it has been a little bit of an Achilles heel for the side who, despite having the best defensive record this season with just 13 goals conceded, 9 of those have been in the first half of matches, and 5 of those, which is 38% of all the goals they've conceded, have come in that opening quarter hour. But they have gone relatively untroubled up to this point, as they eye a 12th clean sheet of the season. Koza finds Mudau in plenty of space. Sales. Now Allende. Mokoena to Matthews, perhaps an opportunity to measure another good cross. He opts to link up with Reyners. Salez set up a little awkwardly for him.
That's all I can say for Grant.
Keeping the ball expertly at the moment, Ribeiro. There's Koza. Swings it out wide, does Ribeiro. Good take from Matthews. Reyners plays the 1-2 with him, and that one runs out for a goal kick. Sibangani Zulu doing just about enough.
Now, remember, they're going into the final as Mamelodi Sundowns, and one of the preparations for that final is to be able to play in a certain way that they'll be at a better space to compete against Pyramids. I'm talking about ball possession, about being able to shift the ball into the good areas where they can hurt the opposition. So it's a practice match in preparation for the bigger stage. If you find a team that maybe will pressure you less, so it's an opportunity to apply those moments where to what you want to perfect in the team.
First player caught offside this evening, Yanela Mbutuma. Elvis Sitole, who will turn 35 next month, quick to raise his flag there. Mbutuma having the best goal-scoring season of his young career, 4 in the league. Just one more to equal the best ever tally for any Richards Bay player in the top flight. That belongs currently to Sanele Barnes from last season.
And the goals, of course, are spread all over.
Yeah.
And number of players, Bomelo with 2, Figueiredo with 2, so is Trava. Then the rest, everybody else that scored, that's 1 goal. So they struggle in front of goals, 16 all in all.
Well, the last 6 goals that they've scored have all been in the second half. It's usually where they come alive a little bit more. "13 of their 16 goals in total since the beginning of the season have been scored in the second half. That's 81% of all their goals, as Mbutuma cries out in agony.
You got a clip there by Koza.
Ikram Reyners putting a little bit of daylight between himself and Jenan Zaimovic, who has 8 goals currently for TS Galaxy. The player down in 4th as Sibangani Zulu is penalised for a handball. Is all the way back on 6 goals. It's Andy Boyeli for Skukuni United. Last we're hearing, still 0-0 between Orlando Pirates and Babi Nanoku. Another crucial game. Neka being hassled here by Reyners. Their next match, they will be up against the 3rd top scorer, Richards Bay, to take on TS Galaxy this coming Sunday. A team they beat on the opening day of this season when the Rockets were under Sead Vramovic. Keegan Allen scoring in that one. Not the first time that he's scored on debut for a team. goals today mean that Mamelodi Sundowns still not involved in a 0-0 draw this season. The other team that haven't been involved in a 0-0 draw in the Betway Premiership this season, interestingly, Skokuni United. So does that tell us that there will be goals between themselves and Orlando Pirates?
It's going to be a difficult game for Orlando Pirates. I mean, if you think about Skokuni, where they are in the log, that tells a story of just how good the team is. So it's not going to be an easy one for them to go past. But the fact that they're at the Orlando Stadium might just give Orlando Pirates a chance to walk away with all the 3 points. But they can't afford to slow down Orlando Pirates. Any slight slowdown will mean Mamelodi Sundowns will create that gap further forward.
In from Gumede to Heavy. With that being said, though, William, in terms of the other games being played simultaneously, Skokune, just as much as Pirates can't afford to drop points, neither can they, because Stellenbosch have a game in hand over them and are 3 points behind them, and they're taking on Chippa United currently in a game that is also deadlocked at 0-0 last we heard. That battle for the CAF Interclub spots for next season is a very interesting one. Skokune United's draw with TS Galaxy in their previous match means that that gap is probably a little too big for the Rockets to close with the games they have remaining. So I don't think they're contenders for third anymore. It's a straight shootout between Stellenbosch and Skokune.
But still, if you think where TS Galaxy has been in the past few years, maybe except for last season, was the only time that they were not fighting in that relegation battle. So things have gotten even better this season, that they are being counted amongst those in the top 4. So it's a massive improvement for where they've been.
For the Rockets, the individual motivation now at this point, with the promise of African football, I would say, fading, is that they'll be searching for their best ever finish, which was 6th last season. So they have a real chance to better that. Now Ikram Reyners putting it into a good area, does end up with Tashrik Matthews here. 3 players, now 4 in the box for Sundowns. Oh, that is close. Either to nestling in the bottom corner or to getting a touch from Salez. It was kind of in between.
Opportunity here to invert himself and swing it with his right foot into the far post, which is what most players playing as inverted do a lot. Very difficult for the goalkeeper, because if he gets it right, he can swing it into the near or open it up into that far post.
And Lucas Ribeiro will not want to make way here, given that this is a perfect opportunity for him to end his goal drought. But should he not be able to continue, the quality available to Mamelodi Sundowns on the bench is absolutely unbelievable, and they've recently welcomed back a club captain, Themba Zwane, a couple of really good cameos in the Champions League. The indication from Lucas Ribeiro is that he would like to continue. Hasn't scored since that 1-1 draw against Le Mans for Golden Arrows back on the 5th of March. That's Ribeiro Costa. been 8 games in all competitions that he's featured in since then. Man who has 20 goal contributions in total in the league, followed by Ikram Reyners, who's moved to 18 today with 10 goals and 8 assists. And Costa on average is providing either an assist or a goal every 83 minutes, which is a wonderful return. Tashrik Matthews to Kekana, Modiba. Mamelodi Sundowns released Sekutiwani to the under-20 national team. He's since returned injured, as Salez now tries to find his way through. It's part of the reason that Terence Mashego has remained behind and not been included in that Chan squad, as the cross goes over 2 players, or not honoured the call-up, because Divine Lunga also not available at the moment. So Sundowns in this crucial run and don't want to be short in any area. The interval approaching now. Solid first half job done by Mamelodi Sundowns here at Loftus. Been over 6 weeks since they were last involved in league action. Looking to get back to winning ways. For the most part slots in at a right back position. I wonder what that means for Sipangani Zulu. But as the game goes on, we'll have a look at exactly how they're forming up. For the time being now, it looks like Zulu has slotted into that holding midfield role that was occupied by Mtetwa. I'm sure William Shonga can shed a little bit of light on that.
Still obviously trying to confirm exactly how things are going to pan out in this second half. It can only be a very serious injury. I think we did see Mtetwa, who had a breakdown in that first half and had to be treated from outside the pitch, and eventually did walk back into the field. So that injury might have persisted. It's a big loss because he's such a key man in that middle of the park. But at this stage, maybe Richards Bay should stop thinking about being defensive and see what means can they create to be able to go a little bit forward where they need to be. I'm trying to remember if Dennis Onyango did even have a single shot that he needed to save, which I doubt.
Yeah. Making a couple of interventions, but as far as flying across goal, nothing really to report for Dennis Onyango, as Hipero frees Mudau. Hipero again.
Look at where he shows up. Nowhere near the attacking phase of the game, but I guess that's the trick that he brings in. It's difficult to track him down. He's another that it's hard to be able to nail down into one position. He's all over. Very difficult to be able to pinpoint where he's going to show up next.
This is Salez. Sundowns only had 4 shots in the first half, but they all hit the target. 2 of them hit the back of the net. And Mokoena is the first shot of target for Mamelodi Sundowns. It's the second one attempt from distance for Teboho Mokoena, who stung the palms of Otieno in the first half. Richards Bay have not even attempted a shot, at least one that has been registered yet. Good ball to find Allende, slipped it delicately through the legs of Otieno for Mamelodi Sundowns' third of the night.
Another well orchestrated move into that taking phase with incredible speed. Individually taken, he picks it up here from a bad pass from Keegan Arlen, and then as a pinpointed pass into the box with his way, and had a bit of space in front of the goalkeeper and tucks it beautifully in between the legs. That's a quality that Mamelodi Sundowns does have. Allende hardly ventures into this kind of spaces, but when he does, proves to be high quality.
I think the Richards Bay defence also deceived by the presence of Salez, and who was going to take on the responsibility, but Marcelo Allende, for the third season running since joining Mamelodi Sundowns, has netted now his second Premiership goal. So he has an opportunity in the closing stages of the season to add to that tally. 2 goals in his debut season, 2 last season, that's in the league. And he adds tonight to the one he netted in the 3-1 win over Gallants in February. Taken on here by Sundowns. Repelled by Koza. Now Ribeiro, options up ahead of him, but showing a bit too much of the ball there to Taba. Mamelodi Sundowns joint with surprisingly Magesi as the team with the most clean sheets this season, 11, but they've only managed 2 in their last 9 league games. So they would like to shut out another team. Ball over the top looking for Reyners. Saleh seizes upon it. Now Ribeiro, it's onto his left. Fairly tame effort.
I guess good enough pressure to force him into a tame shot.
There's a free kick for Richards Bay, handball I believe from Malibongo Koza. The information we're receiving, by the way, is that Lakustani Mteto has suffered a groin injury, so we wish him a speedy recovery. He is a player that has suffered with injuries in the past and has previously sat out for very long periods.
Yeah, when he was still at Swallows, I remember that.
The Swallows, he was out for ages. And the most convincing effort from Ribeiro. Another shot on target for Mamelodi Sundowns. Tashrik Matthews jinks away from 2.
Yeah,
Saleh spotted Saleh's offside.
Yeah, cleverly just decides to let it go because he realized it was offside.
Well, Mamelodi Sundowns will implement a couple of changes here, and the most recent goal scorer is making way, although perhaps that's not all too surprising given that he appeared to have been injured in the process of scoring. Yeah, just Zikali maybe catching him with the studs.
Yeah.
So he departs along with Teboho Mokoena and Spilene Mkhulise and Jaden Adams onto the park. Jaden Adams, who will be celebrating his 24th birthday this coming Monday.
I know Mokoena, you know, he's brilliant in his position and all that defensively, and otherwise he gets those crackers every now and then. But I like Mkhulise. He's one of those very honest players in midfield who works hard for the team, and that's just the best thing about everything that he does. So I just want to see players like that getting the opportunity to play a bit more, and also that he's still just a youngster, and I can imagine what he has in front of him as a career growth. So yes, it's an injury. I'm not sure if it's an injury to Mokoena or just a change to rest him. I mean, as many players are being rested, but it's a good time to bring a player, the players that maybe don't get regular action, into a situation where there's no real too much pressure.
I think Mokoena has departed with the weekend in consideration. They play on Saturday away to Cape Town City, so also a lot of travelling this week. Mamelodi Sundowns, who left fairly swiftly after their game in Cairo and landed in South Africa on their chartered flight back this past Saturday morning, and got a couple of days off before return to training in preparation for this match.
You can see the freshness. I was worried about that return, the amount of time that they had after returning from Cairo. But looking at this freshness there, you can tell that these players have been well rested. There's sharpness, there's just a refreshed mindset about the way they're playing.
Mamelodi Sundowns have played 4 matches in the same period that Richards Bay have contested just 1. That was almost 2 weeks ago against Cape Town City. Mamelodi Sundowns could do Richards Bay a gigantic favour this weekend if they, as expected, get a result against the struggling Citizens, who they did beat 3-0 earlier this season. Peter Shalalile on the double in that game. Fizzed out towards Khulisa Modao, who can't keep it in despite his best efforts. Richards Bay making another change here. Wendy Lingema is on for Similan Sundwana, who at the beginning of this half had a few bright moments, but hasn't been particularly effective.
I mentioned that a big part of the problem of the attacking players of Richards Bay is that they were assisting a bit more defensively, and they never really got the chance to progress into the attacking phase of the game. I mean, if you know, in Sundwana 1v1 situation, he's always looked good with this overstepping movements, but in this case we hardly see him doing once. That basically tells the fact that he didn't get himself anywhere near the position where he can at least take a player on offensively. So is Butuma. Or Kumete, for that matter.
Ribeiro showing off in the middle of the park as Jaden Adams, Khulise, Matthews, Sales. Move developing nicely here for Mamelodi Sundowns. Setback for Modiba. Now Spilene Mkhulise. Modao. Ribeiro, Modao, exchange passes. Khulise, Modiba. Into the area for Ribeiro. Spangane Zulu getting his head on it. Not the first time that Kumete has slipped in this particular match. Matieno hoisting it forward. Kulise. Back to Onyango. Chalez. Mamelodi Sundowns lost possession briefly. Mudau. Ribeiro. Away by Aba. Kulise. Oh, well, he did all the good work in the build-up and then ballooned his shot. Well, the noise has gone up whilst Richards Bay are on the ball, and that is because in the age of cell phones, the digital era, most in the stadium are beginning to get the news that Orlando Pirates are behind at home against Kukuni United. Treso Yamba with the goal, and Pirates conceding from a corner in the Betway Premiership for the first time this season, which means only Sundowns and Arrows, the only teams yet to concede from a corner in the Betway Premiership this campaign. But what's important is, at least from a Sundowns perspective, the Buccaneers, their nearest challengers, are trailing.
Well, if I may add, the Orlando Pirates' problems from set pieces of the weekend in the CAF Champions League.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's the evidence of how massive are those problems for Orlando Pirates.
Reyners nicely slipped through here for Tashreeq Matthews. Matieno repels it at his near post. Salez collects. Kulise to Mudiba. There's Mudau.
Just like it did in that first half. Easy like Sunday morning.
Now Matthews. Zikali intercepts, but back with Sundowns. Kulise, now Mudau. Ribeiro. Still he continues on. Matthews for Solis. And seemed like a hand was involved here, which Tanu Nzeka spotted instantly. And that will not stand.
Thinking to himself, when am I going to break this duck? That has been on to me for the longest. Yes, clearly it's a handball from Ribeiro.
So, double change being made here. Kolisa Mudau, who celebrated his 30th birthday this past Saturday, make way alongside Ikram Reyners, scorer of today's second goal. So, Morena will slot in at right back.
And then, of course, Temba. Zwane.
Well, his long-awaited return from injury came with a couple of appearances in the Champions League. A man who hadn't played since October. A job done for both Kolisa Mudau and Ikram Reyners. Modiba taking no chances. Neatly done by Ngema. Still he continues on. A player who's making his 7th appearance off the bench this season. He's yet to start in the league in what is his maiden campaign as a professional player.
Now there were claims from the Richards Bay players. Something happened in that box. I'm not too sure exactly what the claim is. I'm not sure if our cameras were able to pick it up.
Matthews darting forward once again. He's been a real menace down the flank. This time dispossessed by Ngema. Sundowns unbeaten against KZN sides this season, 4 wins and a draw. Generally they enjoy good fortunes against sides from KwaZulu-Natal, as the ball is fizzed in by Butuma. Only Gumede waiting.
That unfortunately, but he waits here. He realized that there's nobody in that box and he waits to see if there's a blue shed making. Oh, that looks like it did touch the arm of Mutiba. Now this, I'm sure it's a better angle. Yes.
Yeah, but the proximity there, and I think it almost grazes up off his hip and then touches him fairly high up on the arm.
And you know, if it deflects from the body into the arm, then it's not.
And then I clearly saw a little touch off the hip and then into the arm. Take it short, Butuma and Gumede. Another slip from Gumede, but he's done tremendously well to produce that little bit of magic. Yeah, Tashif Matthews won't want to see that again. Left on the floor.
Is that Gumede for you?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he hasn't done enough of that. He's very capable of this throughout the game.
Mamelodi Sundowns have ceded a little bit of possession compared to kind of numbers they were producing during the first half, but still absolutely dominating this game.
Alongside the trend, in as far as Richards Bay is concerned, they tend to up their tempo in the second half. So that's one of those moments where they can pick up the pieces and maybe hold a little bit more of the ball. But holding just ball position is one. Are they going to progress to where they can actually threaten that Mamelodi Sundowns goal area?
6th game against a KZN rival in the Betway Premier this season for Sundowns. 13 goals scored, just 1 conceded. In fact, it's been 26 league games without a loss against a KZN side, as Terence Mashego is prepared now. 21 wins, 5 draws since they last lost a league match against a team from KwaZulu-Natal. That was Maritzburg United over 3 years ago, March of 2022. Denison Young will hack it out. Aubrey Modiba is on the ground. His replacement is already prepared. And this is exactly why they couldn't afford to sacrifice Terence Mashego for those Chan qualifiers.
Others will be wondering, of course, that there are 2 very key players for Richards Bay that are missing in the starting lineup. Figueiredo, the Eswatini international, and also Mabuya, the right fullback. The reason is simple: it's injuries. It's niggling injuries. I think for both of them, it's the groin
injury. Yeah. Yeah, it has forced them to do a bit of a patch-up job at fullback because of the absence of Mabuya. the last time Richards Bay were on a longer winless run away from home was last season from November into May, before, under the tutelage of Vusmuzi Vilakazi, they won a string of games, at home games, effectively saved their status. Guy Kekana pleading his innocence here. Ah, okay. Nothing intentional, I'm sure, but he clearly caught him across the face. But he could also be saying that under any other circumstance, any other player on the park, and that would have been handing off on the chest. So certainly no ill intent. No,
yeah,
none.
The unfortunate part that he ran into the face, which is considered a bookable offense.
Ngema is a very short player, though. He's on the ball now. Does he have a sight of goal? He's opted to cross, and he will get another opportunity to put it in, but this time can't control effectively. Kekana forward for Matthews. Richards Bay have now registered a shot. They are yet to get one on target. And up the other end, it's Artur Sales, Fani Mshishi, Adams. Forward here for Mudau. Jaden Adams. Oh, Morena, my apologies. Stuck in the habit of spotting Mudau on that right-hand flank. This is Morena. Kekana. Adams. Cut out by Faber. Well, Mamelodi Sundowns would love to have the pressure taken off them a little bit, and the current score in Orlando will do that and drastically improve their prospects of winning the league title, give them a little more license to focus in on that CAF Champions League final against the mega-rich Pyramids. Club out of Egypt, haven't been in existence all too long. Mamelodi Sundowns looking for their second continental title, add to the one that they won in 2016. And perhaps a positive omen, the fact that they won that one against an Egyptian club 9 years ago now.
Maybe it's time, eh? For the amount of time that they've been at it, Mamelodi Sundowns having a go at it. Quarter-final, semi-final, sometimes in the final. It's like there's got to be a time when it will open up.
Tembazani. Koza. Adams to Kekana. About to enter into the final quarter hour of play. Mamelodi Sundowns have scored 9 goals this season in the Betway Premiership during this period. And here is Ribeiro for Zwane. Still Zwane. Ribeiro! Well, he gets some power behind that, but Matieno equal to it.
When is this going to come to an end is what Ribeiro is asking himself. That was a decent shot. Maybe a little bit close to the keeper, but still very good power behind it. And from the range where he was, you thought to yourself, maybe here's a big chance. Great save from the keeper.
Kekana gets away from Ngema. Kulise. Mashego. After Sales. A delicate little touch forward. Can't reconnect with Mashego. Appreciates his efforts. With a little thumbs up. Gumede, too strong from Butuma. Between these two sides, they've scored 15 goals in the final quarter hour in the league this season. So can we expect more as Ribeiro tries to feed Touchstick Matthews?
He's had a decent game, Ribeiro.
Yep.
Whatever he does, like I said, he doesn't stay at the top of the formation, but whenever he gets involved, he goes looking for the ball. He works hard in getting ball position so they can make the right impact.
So a couple of changes here with Butuma and Gumede making way, and see the introduction here of a couple of youngsters. It is a senior debut for Ndunge, and in a game like this, why not let him feel the intensity of professional football. He comes on alongside Pomelo, who has enjoyed a pretty good start to professional football himself with a couple of goals since his debut this season. We're back to Allen. Keegan Allen, former Sundowns junior. It's a 5th start for him against Mamelodi Sundowns with the various clubs he's played for, where he's been on the wrong end of the result on 3 occasions. Managed 1 draw. That was during his time with Swallows. Also met Sundowns in the MTN 8 quarter-final when he was with Swallows. It's the 2022-23 season. Hint of a handball there, and then a foul, potential foul round on the edge of the area. Referee waves away both appeals. This could be a good opportunity. No one really closing him down. At Spangani Zulu, who's been moved into that midfield role. looking to restore to his name the goal that he once had against Mamelodi Sundowns. If you missed our explanation in the first half, it's because he scored it when playing for Royal AM, and all those results have been expunged.
It's another shot at goal, but it's not on target still. That just about tells the story of Richards Bay today, that they've been shut down completely. Yes, they hit that one shot, but if you think about the ambitions of being able to get a result from this game, that, I guess, it's well and dead.
I can tell by the orientation of the cell phone of the gentleman on the left of your picture that he is currently streaming the Pirates versus Skakune match. That also would explain the fairly glum expression on his face. However, finding Schlongo. Zikali laying it off. We'll get a corner kick. Keegan Allen up from the back. To be delivered in by Ngema. Lucas Ibero got a touch on that. Now with Mashego. Moreno was motoring into space, as was Tashreeq Matthews, but nicely away by Richards Bay.
Too much.
Yeah. It's a very, very young team. The Natal Rich Boys. You look at all of the academy products that are dotted around the lineup as well.
The biggest challenge, of course, is to be able to survive, and then there's a big chance that these youngsters will have grown in as far as experience is concerned, and they'll be better come next season.
Zwane, Koza, that's Grant Kekana. So they've moved up to 52 goals for the season. Mamelodi Sundowns closing in on their own record of 56 from 3 seasons back. I'll back them to reach it by the time this this campaign ends. Shishi. Adams, Kulise combine. Koza has been steady. It's Grant Kekana. Kekana again for Jaden Adams. By the way, Grant Kekana has gone past 100 passes in this match as Mashiko puts it across. Adams, now Kekana, both he and Malibongo Khoza have passed at almost a 96% rate over the course of this match. Grant Kekana has misplaced just 5 of 111 passes in this game. Now they choose to get forward with a little more urgency here. Ribeiro. A neat touch to combine with Matthews, who couldn't get it back to him. Well, Lucas Ribeiro's goal drought extend now to 9 games. He's got a few minutes to try and find the back of the net against the team that he scored against in late December to end what was previously his longest ever goal drought for Sundowns. To Sales. Both games against Richards Bay this season, he has been the man to get Sundowns up and running. Looking now in these closing stages to preserve their clean sheet on Mamelodi Sundowns. Things getting worse for Orlando Pirates in Soweto. They've had Kosanati Sibisi sent off. It's not been the best week or so for him. And now you would imagine that the best that Pirates can manage here in the closing stages would be to try and rescue a point against Sekhukhune. So a good day all round for Mamelodi Sundowns. That's how it looks to be shaping up for the Brazilians. Set piece to defend. Dennis Onyango with a strong punch away.
Excellent punch away. He gets the distance, he gets the height, and it's always a big challenge for a goalkeeper. If you come out to punch, you're out of your line, so you need at least a bit of time to be able to get your position back. And when you punch it that high and get the distance, it augurs well for you.
Morena. Ribeiro's offside. Keegan Allen. Aber. Ngema. Ribeiro. 2 runners up ahead of him. Opting for Sales. Artur Sales forces another save out of Otieno. Allen intervenes. Pomelo. Slogo. Ngema.
Could you say that this is the Richards Bay that we're hoping to see in the first half? But we know that they only come alive most of their games in that second half performance. This is one of those games. Yes, they're still finding it hard to find the back of the net or even shots on goal. But for me, it's a much better half than we saw in the first half.
Well, 3 games remaining to ensure that they don't get sucked into 15th position, and TS Galaxy could be very, very tricky away, although I say away, but it will be just around the corner at Lucas Moripe Stadium. TS Galaxy hosting them there, so Richards Bay actually won't be leaving the province. And then they have Le Montfort Golden Arrows at home and Supersport away as Sundowns look to maybe add to their misery this evening. And that one easily scraped away. So those are their final 3 games. Galaxy, Arrows and Supersport United. The Supersport United one in particular, their final game, that one will,
you know what it means. It's a 6-pointer.
Could potentially have a huge bearing on who has to contest the playoffs. Mamelodi Sundowns have hit the 800 pass mark. It's quite unbelievable. So, not all too much additional time here at Loftus Versfeld. The game ends in the capital. There's a couple of minutes remaining in Orlando, where Pirates are still behind and have 10 men. Mamelodi Sundowns, by the way, with the most successful passes in a single match in the Betway Premiership this season, here this evening against Richards Bay. So